Hello everybody, my name is Paige and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing my June wrap up. I was able to read 8 books this month and I read one of my favorite books this month. I'm super excited to share it with you. I read one book that I own, so off of my physical TBR, and I read one physical book from the library, but the rest were on Kindle or audiobooks. So I'm not really going to have too many books to hold up to show you guys, but that is all I have for this intro. So let's go ahead and get into the books I read. The first book I read this month that ended up being 5 stars and is one of my favorite books is Divine Rivals. I absolutely love this book. It has enemies to lovers, it's got some fantasy in it, it's got war, it's really good. Basically, we have Iris. She is fighting for this columnist position at work. Her brother went off to war to fight. The gods are fighting, so he went off to war, and her mom is struggling with addiction, and she's really the only one that's providing for her family. And she knows winning this promotion will really, really help her. And she is writing these letters to her brother on her typewriter and slipping them under her wardrobe door. And she's thinking, oh, they disappear, they're going to my brother. But they end up falling into the hands of Roman, who is her rival at work. So he starts anonymously writing her back, and they kind of form this connection. And over time, they form a love for each other, but he knows who she is, but she doesn't know who he is. And a lot ends up happening with it. It's so amazing. It is unlike any book I've ever read before. Like, the different aspects of it are amazing, and I love that it has romance, but it's not just focused on romance. And I absolutely love this book. I highly recommend it. The next book I read was Real Life and Other Fictions, and I gave this one a 3 stars. I listened to this as an audiobook. So we have Cassie. She was abandoned or orphaned at 2 years old when her parents ended up dying in a bridge collapse. Right now, life isn't really going her way. She found out her husband is cheating. She's in a job she doesn't really want, and she ends up going on a spontaneous road trip. And she goes to where her parents died, and she's trying to figure out what exactly happened and why her parents were on this bridge when it collapsed. And she ends up finding out that maybe she hasn't been told everything her whole life and some secrets have been hidden from her. So I ended up giving this a 3 stars because I went into it expecting a romance, kind of, because there is a little bit of a romance in there, but it's definitely not the main plot. And it also got a little bit confusing at times, and I would have to rewind and re-listen. And there were also parts that were just kind of weird, and there was a lot that was unnecessary. Like, the story could have been much shorter, I feel like, but it was a really interesting story. I just wish that it had been a little bit shorter and a little bit less confusing. The next book I read is London on My Mind. I ended up giving this a 3 stars. Um, Basically, our main character, her mom dies, and she has to move from Rio to London to move in with her dad. And she doesn't feel like she can forgive her dad for having this new family. She doesn't like her stepmom. She's constantly fighting with her stepsister, and she feels like she doesn't belong. One day, she's out exploring London, and she literally runs into our other character, Diana, and she is fleeing from Buckingham Palace. So over time, these two girls form a connection and a relationship, but our main character, Day, is still confused and concerned that Diana is hiding secrets from her, and she wants to know what is being hidden. I really liked that there was like bi and pan, plus size, and chronic illness representation in this book. That was amazing. The only thing that I didn't like was the constant mention of One Direction. That kind of like threw me off a little bit. It was just mentioned way too much, and it was kind of starting to feel a little fan fiction-y. So that's just kind of what threw it off for me. I love One Direction, so at first I really enjoyed it, but after so many mentions, it kind of just threw the book off for me a little bit. But other than that, I really loved the love story. I loved the mentions of grief and forgiveness. It was just that one aspect that kind of dropped it down a couple stars for me. The next book I read is Just Don't Fall, and I listened to it as an audiobook and gave it 5 stars. So we have Logan and Parker. Logan is coming back to town to play on the town's hockey team, and Parker is his social media manager. Turns out Logan is her brother's ex-best friend and also her first crush, and he kind of ghosted them and broke her heart. Turns out that her crush never really died, and they end up fake dating, and all of her old feelings come back, but she knows that Logan isn't there to stay, and she doesn't really think that her heart can take him leaving again. So, this was an amazing romance. I really enjoyed it. The narrators that I listened to that read it were absolutely amazing. I read it in 2 days. It was so good. If you like hockey romance, I definitely recommend this one. It was so cute and sweet. The next book we have is The God of the Woods, and I gave this 5 stars. Basically, we have Barbara, and she goes missing, and she is the summer camp owner's daughter. 14 years before she went missing, her brother went missing from the same camp, the same area. So, as they're looking for Barbara, things start to come up about her brother, and there's a lot of split timelines, a lot of different point of views. It's a mystery thriller. It's just really exciting. Like, I was never bored the entire time. The writing is beautiful. I tabbed so many different aspects of this. It was just amazing, and the ending made me tear up. Definitely, it was just really good. I definitely recommend this if you like mystery thrillers. I try and read a lot of them, but they don't always capture my attention, and this one really did. The next book I read was Paging Dr. Hart, and I gave this 5 stars. We have Tiffany and Ethan. Tiffany had a lot of stuff going on in her past that made her feel like she's kind of immune to the charm of men, but she meets Ethan, and he's arrogant and very handsome. And uh, we have Ethan, who his family was doctors, and he kind of has this like legacy to uphold in his hometown. So he ends up wanting to transfer to Tiffany's hospital. We end up having Tiffany and Ethan. They have to stay together at his hometown hospital, and they also go to a convention together. So there's a lot of forced proximity, and then Tiffany's past comes back to bite her, and they are literally fighting for their lives. So this has a lot of split timelines with Tiffany's past and present, and it was really exciting, and the romance was so cute. Like, I love Ethan and Tiffany together. He is so cute to her. It's amazing. I definitely recommend this one. I haven't really read many like medical workplace romances, but I really liked this one, and I definitely recommend it. The next book I read is My Roommate is a Vampire, and I gave this one a 5 stars. This one is such an amazing read. I absolutely loved it. So we have Cassie, and she's a struggling artist, and she's about to get evicted from her apartment, and she finds this apartment on Craigslist that's $200 a month, and obviously that seems too good to be true, but she's desperate and she takes it anyways. So we have Frederick, and he is her roommate, and she finds him really weird because he sleeps all day and then is out all night. And so he also leaves her letters and is asking about her day, and she finds him really handsome. One day she finds blood bags in the fridge, and he has to come clean about what he is, and he has a proposition for her. My favorite part of this was their relationship, and their communication was amazing. The little letters that they write to each other you get, and they're so cute. Also, Frederick is a Swiftie, which we love, and more on that, he's a 1989 Swiftie, which we also love. What an amazing era to love. So Cassie and Frederick were such an amazing couple. They were so cute together. I absolutely loved this. I have been really into paranormal romances lately, and this one did not disappoint. The final book I read in June was A Hex on Honeysuckle Lane, and I gave this 5 stars. So we have Holly, who is moving back to her hometown, and we have Cricket, who is Holly's high school enemy. So a hex is placed on the town, and magic is kind of going out, and people aren't able to use their magic as well. And we find that Holly and Cricket end up working together. So as they're working together, they kind of end up becoming more than friends, and they form a relationship, and we find them falling for each other. So this was a really cute paranormal romance. It also has this mystery aspect of them trying to figure out this hex, and it was just such a quick and cute read. I absolutely loved it. I sat and binged it in one night. Like, it was amazing. We have a witch and a siren, we have magic, we have a magic house. It was just an amazing read, and a really good read to end June off on, and I definitely recommend it. that is all I have for today's video. Those are the 8 books I read in June. I had a really good reading month and I really enjoyed the books I read. If you like this video, give it a like. If you like me, you can go ahead and subscribe. I hope to see you guys around some more, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys!